First, just want to thank everybody for attending today and go over the scope here. We're going to be talking about the Sync portal and the Sync app. If you're interested in Collab OS security on our endpoint devices, Dennis actually will be covering that on November 26th. And since today's topic is not as tangible as previous sessions, a little bit of a disclaimer. Presentation is through the lens of a solution engineer, helping customers deploy Sync and complete security assessments here. We do have a team of experts in various fields. If anybody needs additional information, we could fill out a NDA and go into a more in-depth conversation. Okay, the agenda. We're going to define what security, privacy, and availability are. We're going to learn about the what, how, and where of Sync. We're going to drill down deeper into how that security is implemented in Sync. We're going to review some documentation and end with a little Q&A, but as Dennis already mentioned, feel free to put those in chat in the meantime. So what is security? Simply put, it's protecting assets against threats. Vulnerability is the weakness. Threat is the bad thing that could happen. And your risk is the potential for damage when that bad thing happens. What's important to remember, there will always be some level of risk that must be accepted. Privacy. Privacy is just the right to control how your information is viewed and used. And we really do need to talk about availability, right? You can't have something so secure that you can't access it ever. So, 24/7 customers rely on Sync to keep their environments going. Availability is very important. It is definitely intertwined with security and privacy. And then lastly, threats are constantly evolving. We are a very transparent company. If you do have any security questions, please feel free to reach out to your local solutions engineer, account manager. If we don't have the answers, we will be able to, get you in touch or have the right people on staff that will provide the answers for you. Okay, so what exactly is Sync? It sometimes can be confusing because there are two components to Sync. There's the Sync portal, sync.logitech.com is an example, and then there's also a Sync application. So the portal is where you go, you open up your browser where the devices are managed, schedule software updates, etc. It's a very secure platform. Again, 24/7 availability is very important. There's also an option to Sync called Insights, where we can offer insights, coincidentally, as to how the systems are being used, how many people were in the meeting, how long did the meeting go, whether you're in or out of the meeting. Then we have the Sync app. This is a computer app that runs on a Windows or Mac computer. Typically in those environments, if we look at the rally bar in the picture here, it's not going to be connected to the network. The compute is connected to the network. So the Sync app is kind of the middleman that brokers the communications from the device over that USB cable going into the Windows compute up to the Sync cloud. Now, if you deploy that rally bar in standalone mode without a compute, you don't need to download anything. We bake the Sync app right into the Collab OS operating system. So next, how does Sync work? And this applies to both the computer app and the Sync that is baked into Collab OS. All connections are initiated from the on-premise device. Now, that is very important, right? We want to ask our customers to open up inbound ports from the internet into their network. So everything gets initiated from the inside out. That traffic is both authenticated and encrypted using the latest AES 128 and 256-bit ciphers. And just a quick definition, authenticate is to prove or show something. So when you first add your device to Sync, there's a pairing code that you use to make sure it goes into your account, goes into the right room. That authentication is established when you enter that provisioning code. And encryption, that means that the information gets scrambled. So if somebody was savvy enough to, intercept the traffic over the public internet, they would not be able to read it because it's in a encrypted, scrambled format. Little tidbit here is encryption is not something new, believe it or not. Julius Caesar used encryption on his personal messages when he sent with the messenger. His code was to, in the Roman alphabet, move up 3 letters. So A became a D, etc. So that's, as you can see, a form of encryption. Pretty easy to crack that one, but I think it's a good example of what encryption is. Okay, so where is Logitech Sync? Now we're talking about the portal here, not the app. So globally, we have 4 instances. For the point of this call, we are going to be talking about the global instance here in the United States. We also have an instance in Canada. Some countries, Canada is one of them. European Union has their GDPR rules where data needs to be kept in country. So that's why we have 4 different ones. Okay, single sign-on. So what single sign-on does, for those not familiar, it allows an end user to log into multiple applications with a single set of credentials. On Sync, we support single sign-on, but we also support local passwords, and you can mix them together. So with single sign-on, it's a little bit different. When you go to log on to Sync, we actually redirect you to your identity provider to be authenticated and then wait for a yes or no back. When you log on using the local Sync passwords, we have those in our database and we verify that they are correct before letting you in. So we prefer SSO and customers do for a number of reasons. First one, as I just mentioned, is we do not store customer passwords when SSO is enabled. We don't want them. You don't want us to have them. So that's a win-win there for both of us. Some organizations have complexity or frequency. How often do you have to change your password when SSO is used? Those can all be met. They're existing. No changes even need to be made. Me as an end user, I like using single sign-on because I don't need to remember a password or put it on a yellow sticky pad on my monitor. It's the same password I use for my email and everything else at the corporate level. The IT admins like SSO, when somebody leaves, they're going to be turning off single sign-on so they can't get to their email and everything else. That's also going to be getting them off of the ability to log into Sync by doing that. They don't have to remember, oh, they had an account here, they had an account there, just one place where they can get it done. It is implemented at the organizational level for the whole account. There is an option to force SSO. What that means is you would not be able to use the local account. So without checking that box, you can mix and match SSO and local. Once you check off force, you have to use SSO. There's no other way to get in. And then lastly, we do support multiple domains. An example of that, we have an account here at Logitech that we share amongst the solution engineers team, but in Japan, Logitech is not able to do business as Logitech. There's a similar company existing, so we are called Logicool in Japan, and my counterpart there has an email address that ends in logicool.com. So we are able to configure both the Logitech and the Logicool names to come into a single instance of Sync. Okay, next up is the principle of least privilege. It's a common security practice, and we use it internally to protect Sync data, but we also give our customers the ability to do it in Sync. So I'll give an example internally. Last week I was trying out a new integration that we have here with my Rally Bar. Was not working as expected. I couldn't figure out why. I would have loved to get my hands on the log files that the Rally Bar sends to our infrastructure, but as a solution engineer, the scope of my job, I'm not helping customers. I don't have rights to be able to get data from that log server because there's customer data there that I would have access to. When somebody accesses the data, it needs to be documented and logged. Why they went in there with a reason. So it's a little bit frustrating that I can't do things like that, but understand that security is more important. On the sync side of things, we do a couple of things. One would be offering a role. We also offer group limiting. So as an example, with the role, say, Dennis is been known to be a little bit of a cowboy, taking care of the Atlanta office. Maybe he wanted to check out some more switching a little before everybody else and put 113 beta on some production systems in some important spots. That's not something you normally want to do. To prevent that, I could make Dennis have a read-only access. So that enables him to log into Sync. He could see everything that's going on, but just not make any changes there. Another popular one for our customers, actually two, would be the third party and the installer. If you have one entity that all they're going to be doing is adding systems to Sync, we have a role for that. You assign them that. That's all they can do is add a new room. Third party, we have a lot of customers that get help from their vendors, our partners, taking care of their environment. We have a role for that as well. And then the group limiting. So say, we have an Austin, Texas office. It was an acquisition, so they kind of do their own thing. We don't really want them seeing our stuff. We do want to see their stuff. So with group limiting, I can make a technician there the admin of the Austin, Texas systems, where when they log in, they're only going to see Austin. They're not going to see New York. They're not going to see San Jose. They're only going to see the systems that I allow them to. So that's another example of principle of least privilege. Okay, so data protection is next. The type of data that Sync collects is names of the users, the groups, the organizations, devices, rooms. I am very happy when I'm filling out a security assessment that it does not say credit cards and social security numbers up there. Right, we have some pretty basic information to collect. We do a very good job at protecting it. So two states of data in Sync. There is data at rest. That's when nobody is using it. It's sitting there on the server, AES 256-bit encryption in that case. And then we have data in transit. Data in transit is when me as an end user open up a browser to Sync and I'm pulling that information to my computer that is traveling over the internet. It is also in transit when the Rally Bar is sending its information up. That too is encrypted, a little different type of encryption there. We also give our customers the option to opt out, right? Most of that data we keep indefinitely until the customer decides to opt out of the service. There's a form that gets completed. Our support team engages, walk through the process. Once that's completed, we will delete everything except for the logs. Those we hang on to. And just a note, we talked a little bit earlier about the optional insights, the room analytics. And I know this was a poll question. That data is currently only retained for 30 days, not till you opt out like everything else. And then data access, right? Physical access is well protected within the data center. We talked earlier about how I can't get to my own log files, so there's that virtual access as well. That is well protected. Availability, so service and availability testing, as we mentioned earlier, is very important. It's a 24/7 availability expectation that we have here. And this page, by the way, is just some random samples from our newly revamped, just literally a few months ago, security white paper that's available for public download. So we would encourage you to read the entire white paper. Just took a couple of snippets here as kind of a teaser. Again, in tier 3 data centers, that means they have dual power, dual networking, dual cooling, world-class type data center. Another thing that we do is test all of the applications before they go out into the wild. We do that by both our own internal testing, but also engaging third parties using some industry standards. We also have a little sandbox environment where we can test things out before putting them into production in an isolated environment. Okay, and then committed to security, as I mentioned earlier. If you have any questions that are not answered during this session, reach out to your solutions engineer, your account manager, anybody will be able to get you the right answer if it's not readily available. Okay, we're going to look at some documentation now. So supporting documentation, I just mentioned the security and white paper was just redone. That is a publicly available document. We also have a privacy policy, terms of service agreement, data protection agreement, and Logitech as a company, this just happened last year, we are ISO 27001 certified. So that means we were audited to deploy secure rules and enforce them in our IT infrastructure. Also under NDA, there is some additional information. We're not trying to be difficult by requiring the NDA. It unto itself is a good security practice, right? If we just let anybody have that information, it got into the wild, it could be used in a malicious manner. So, NDA has a real valid reason for being needed. One of the most common ones is what we call the SAQ. It's a self-assessment questionnaire. It's kind of a greatest hits of all of the customer questionnaires that we've received over the years, and proactively we are answering those common questions. And then there are several third parties that have evaluated the service and established their reports that we can share. Also, if there are any coders or white hat hackers out there, we do have a bug bounty program that will enable you. We actually pay up to $2,000. There's also a $1,500 and $175 one. So if you see anything there, we have a form you can fill out and have a monetary reward there for.